Well, folks, as I promised, the season finale of SmackView. I'm not going to talk about last night's SummerSlam. I'm not here to do that. I don't leave things open-ended, so I'm just going to talk about the concept of SmackView and when it went with the original name SmackBack, but then I found out that an app had the name SmackBack, and I'm like, yeah, need to change that. The concept was very simple. I honestly believe, and still do, believe that SmackDown is the best show that the WWE has to offer. And at the time when, WWE was going for that really horrible phase in late 2013 with the whole Daniel Bryan and the Authority and misusing CM Punk creative-wise the way they did, I wanted to get out of RDR at the time. And RDR is now good to be back in because, as Oni has said, I think on the first bout back, we all needed to get away for a year because at the time, WWE as a product was just awful. I still maintain SmackDown was still better. SmackDown was a lot better through SmackView, opinion only. But at the time, it allowed me a little bit more creative freedom. I didn't have to, go to too much profane comedy and whatnot, because that's not me. I'm a PG guy. I like to keep things at a level where everybody's met halfway, I believe it was the comedian Eric Morecambe who said, and I quote, "He who has to stoop to profanity to sell a joke is not a comedian." I have no doubt I'll be corrected in the comments section below if I'm wrong, and it wouldn't be the first time either. But things I enjoyed about SmackView, a little bit more creative freedom and using the green screen behind me, as I have done for so many bouts. And I was surprised I managed to get 3 seasons of SmackView through its initial run. I still think SmackView has a future, but at this point in time, it doesn't really fit in with the whole scheme of things in WWE. But I think SmackView will return one day. I don't know at this specific point in time. It could be 3 years from now. It could be 4 years. It could be 5 years. But I'm not necessarily guaranteeing, but I will say that SmackView will come back in the future. Because it all depends on what happens in the next few years with RDR next. And as it stands at the moment, things are going well. And as most people know, the other reason I wanted to get out of RDR at the time was RDR was running far too long. I think, in the scheme of things, you need to keep the reviews of it concise and to the point. Because what people want is just your professional and or personal opinion about what you think about the product or that particular show or that particular match, but they want you to get to the point. And I think with the way that some episodes went on, particularly in Season 7 and Season 8, Season 7 I think by far was the worst. Not necessarily from the work that went in with the writing and the editing. It's just WWE throughout Season 7 was awful. I can't really sugarcoat it any further than that. Season 8 was arguably one of our best seasons. But with the year away after, the first generation of RDR closed out, I took a few months off from wrestling. I thought, I'm just going to sit it out, go into put wrestling in the corner for the time being. I'm not really going to pay too much attention to it. And then around August, I thought, let's have a look. Let's see if it has actually gotten to a point where I feel like I can come back. And oddly enough, around SummerSlam time last year, I thought, okay, it's time to get back in the saddle, but go by your lonesome. Because I actually missed being a singles competitor, for want of a better word. And it just felt good just to be able to cut loose, do my own thing. And I think a lot of people actually preferred the 7 to 10 minute runtime of SmackView and just putting like these little memes. I know the Prez liked it whenever I made the NyQuil gag or the "Do not want! Do not want!" Or the one that a lot of people seem to get a kick out of is the two MJs speaking to each other going, "Hey man, do you believe?" "No, I don't." And neither did Bo. That can creep people out a little bit, but this is one of the beauties of having a green screen. I mean, you can't tell from sitting behind me, but that is basically, I don't know, A2 sized green, what was it? Jade green art cards. And when I was actually building towards SmackView, I was actually learning how to do green screens, particularly through Real Features, whenever I did movie reviews where, you know, I'd have like a big TV screen behind me and then have the actual poster in. People liked that. And when I saw, you know, the output of what I was doing, I thought, okay, that's another door that's opening up. That's another potential of opportunity to actually be able to go to another level in terms of art is the wrong word, with creativity, and be able to say, okay, we're taking the next step forward, we're evolving, we're actually stepping out of our comfort zone. Because the comfort zone I was in for so long was just being a voice with the script. And I find it's easier to do voiceovers with the script, but I thought, you know, I actually want to be back in front of the camera again. You know, not from an egotistical or, a narcissistic perspective. I just wanted to actually, you know, be the face as well as the voice. And I think I accomplished a lot on SmackView. You know, learned a lot through the editing that I did. Really pushed myself to go that little bit further. Now, a couple of people had said when the whole CM Punk podcast thing came out, and I know Oni was had tried once or twice to say, come on, let's have RDR back to to actually talk about this. Well, the thing was, I had already spoken about my reaction to the CM Punk podcast, which I shall leave a link in the description below so you can go see it for yourself. And the only reason I wouldn't go into a one-off RDR reunion to talk about the podcast is because I'd already said it, and I wanted to be able to say what I wanted to convey about what CM Punk had gone through, because then, I'd have no distractions, it'd be nobody interrupting, and, I'd just be able to say how I wanted to say it, without, like I say, without any distractions. And, from a logical perspective, it didn't make any sense to talk about the situation in one podcast and then go into another just to say the exact same thing as I'd already done. And that was at a time where, I'd just done the review of Survivor Series 2014, and that pay-per-view was kind of lackluster, to say the least. I haven't watched it since. Tells you a lot. And if I recall correctly, that one was roughly 17 to 29 minutes, which is about the average length of a Raw review for RDR during Season 8. But I'd done my scripted piece, saying what I felt for Survivor Mess series last year. And, and then with the CM Punk thing, that was something I couldn't say scripted, because most people know I am a CM Punk guy. I think after his pipe bomb in 2011, people are like, this guy's talking sense, he's saying exactly what we're all thinking, I'm on board with this guy totally kicks ass, and hope you do well when you finally debut in UFC, Punk. I follow you on Twitter, you're the man. End of. And it's like I say, I didn't really see any logic, rhyme, or reason to say in a podcast again what I'd already said. All that would have happened is, if I'd gone into that RDR, all I would have said is, well, I'll just copy and paste what I've said in there. And it's like, no, just say what you say again live. It's like, yeah, but they can go watch that video if they really want to know my opinion. And a couple of other people had said, well, there's logic in what you're saying. You've said what you needed to say. And I'm one of these people that, when we talk about things that have happened in the past in forms of entertainment, you say what you feel about something, whether it irritates you, whether it disappoints you, or whether it's something that you feel a little bit dejected because something's been taken away from you. You get it all out of your chest, right there on the spot, and then it's done. You don't need to go over and over and over again. I mean, I could go and make a podcast each week saying how I hated the Authority storyline from 2013, but people would be like, yeah, dude, you're becoming a one-trick pony. No one wants to hear that each week. We want to hear your opinions on, what's new and what's current in the world of professional wrestling, not sports entertainment. But it's like I say, I saw SmackView as a learning experience. It was a chance for me to get some fresh air and just be able to have a wrestling podcast show with just my vision alone. And there's something very therapeutic about that, when you're able to cut loose and just be your own person, be your own boss, producer, editor. You only answer to yourself, and I think that was the thing that was quite liberating about SmackView, and I don't take it for granted in any stance whatsoever. Same thing with the original RDR. I don't take that for granted whatsoever. Because some of the most amusing moments, probably, particularly with RDR, anything that involved Elman, Weavile, and Oni just doing this sort of dichotomy where someone will say something about their favorite wrestler, they'll go say something that just, adds salt to the wound, and we're right back, then it's just a vicious cycle, but it's an amusing vicious cycle, for want of a better word. But like I say, I don't take the original for granted, and I don't take SmackView for granted. I don't agree with Oni in the last couple of bouts for RDR Next, where he said, SmackView is, I'm cleaning this up a little bit because we all know Oni tends to get a little bit expressive vocally. I don't think SmackView was terrible at all. I think it was something that people weren't ready for. And I try to just, step out of my comfort zone and actually just try something new. Because the problem is, when you do the same thing over and over again, you get stale, you get you get stagnant, boring, and you're left in the past where you become irrelevant. And I've always been one of these people that actually looks at something and think, okay, this part here is not making it work anymore. Let's put this newer part in here that actually keeps the show rolling, but it's giving the same entertainment, but it's giving something new in the same take with it. And it was just doing what I wanted to do, which was just to review SmackDown, because, like I say, I still have not watched an episode of Monday Night Raw since fall of 2013. I see clips and whatnot on WWE.com, but I have yet to watch a full episode since the time where I just did a Jim Cornette and said, "Thank you, F you, bye," boom. Love Jim Cornette, by the way. Stand-up guy. But yeah, with SmackView, with the way I'm going to leave this is not goodbye. This is not the final sign-off. This is just a simple case of it will be back, but at an undetermined point, because I don't know what's going to happen in the next 3 years, next 5 years, the next 7 years. There's potential for anything. But for the final time, until further notice, I have been MJ Knight, signing off from SmackView. And for those that were in attendance, watching on YouTube, and actually appreciating what I did, thank you very much. You guys are the main reason why I still continue to do what I do on YT. And if it gets to the point in the future where you guys want SmackView to come back, we'll see what we can do. But until next time, folks, good night from the night, and thanks for watching SmackView.